last is, can you show me the dried one, please? It's on top shelf. And you can use this, you can buy it from a Chinese supermarket. It's a lotus leaf. And they come in a packet, a bundle that's very, very dry and brittle. All you gotta do is soak them in water for like 5 minutes and they become really, really flimsy. The good thing about this is they use them for, you can base your rice cooker with it, put your raw rice and water, let it simmer, and then you have a lotus sort of flavored rice, especially jasmine rice. It's very hard to be under the spotlight. Not only that, but not being, it's just that because my forehead shines, more than my face. So this is how you buy them. It's in a pop packet, and there's a bundle. So it's quite brittle, as you can see. It crumbles. So what you do is when you soak them in a very small, short span of time, that's what you get. What I do is I'm just going to fold it, and I don't want all those extra leaves, the ends of the leaves that are really bad. So elastic band, stay away. We were rushing this morning because we thought the show was at 11:30. We were told it's 11:30. It turned out that it was at 11 o'clock. So we went halfway and did an 11:15 start instead. So cut them off, and you can see that inside having a very, very nice, clean look. Then you have the dry part inside, which you can use. Secondly, is you don't have to throw anything. Well, I'm not throwing it away, but if I do, you can make rosettes out of them as well. So by folding it a couple of times and just cut them off again, like so. You end up with the very clean sort of lines of the lotus leaf, right? You can make shoulder sort of shawls for that if you want. You put some flowers in it. I should have made some for the ladies this afternoon for the bridal parade. Next, all you can do is to fold it and just ruche it, right? Like so. And as you, like shearing it, how do you call it? Is it shearing? Shearing it, yeah. So for the guys, shearing is like the sheep, but this one is shearing as in doing an accordion or a concertina. And as you do that around and around your hand, you're actually creating a rosette. So while it's wet, it's pliable, and then when it's dry, it will stay dry. So if you don't have any flowers at home, you can make one by using this one. You can also create rosettes with cordyline leaves, but I don't have any cordyline left, so probably that will be another lesson sometime. That's another way of creating a rosette for you. I'm not going to use them for this, but I thought I'll use the excess thing that we have to cover my base around it. So you're not wasting any of those lotus leaves, except for probably, if I need to do another one, I can just use that as well later on. Cool. First, you can use sticks, and you can use it upright or upside down. But this time probably we'll go opposite, and we'll do it as an upside down sticks. But if I do that, and if you do that, make sure that all of them should be the same direction. And we're creating an arrangement here where everything is parallel. So the placement of the stems would all be straight up and down, making more of a column design. When I'm designing, I sort of randomly place things without even thinking, and then worry about the finished product later. It's almost like when you're cooking, you start with your basic simmering, sauteing, and things like that, and then you worry about the flavor later on when you're almost finished cooking. Because when you worry about the design beforehand, you'll be there forever. Because you say, oh, where am I going to put this, where am I going to put that? Is you start building your arrangement first, and then think about the creation later. Because at this point in time, what I'm thinking is I'm creating a design where everything is upright, more of a column, so it's very, very compact. So this is what I'm going to do, is just to create the corners that I've got. Also in saying that, what I've done is all the placements of my sticks, they are not even, right? So every single one has a space to see. So you can look at the top, that goes, your eye goes down, bounces off into the next one, into the upper one, and here. So each one can get your attention, rather than having two at one time. They start, oh, I'm not really sure where I'm going to look. I'm going to look at this one first or the second one. But if one is going higher than the other, then one seems to get your attention quicker. Sometimes I talk too much, so bear with me. And I can't multitask. Apparently, women are the only ones who can multitask. So, so this one, I want to create something that's really tight. So I've used the trellises to be sort of facing each other. And we can have a little one at the back here. Same thing, going through. And over to the other side. Feel free to ask questions and ask someone else to answer it for me. So just a bird like going through across quite easily, covering that area, which is, if you look at the arrangement, it's actually a third of our design. It's half, two-thirds, and a third. So the dimension that you're working with be a third at a time. So when you do halves, when you do a half arrangement, like a symmetrical arrangement, you have to slice them in two and equal parts. Then it doesn't have enough interest. But if you do like a two-thirds and a third, there's always this drama going, and I'll explain that to you later on. Even our body, we're divided not equally. We've got our torso shorter than our legs, and so you're looking at 1/3, 2, and 2/3, right? It's the same thing with your arms, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, and 3. So it's not the same as not equally cut. So if you work on that dimension, you'll have a better sort of design. I've got some Brazilian berries here as well that I'm going to use to tuck into our design down here. Because what you want to do is when you bring things up, everything has to come down as law of gravity. So I'm bringing out the colors of the orange, but I also want to bring that, because this is so hollow in the middle, I want to have something that's decent enough and strong enough and dominant or more special that your eyes are going to travel back into the same central point of your arrangement. So I've got some beautiful coccinea. It's one of my favorite Banksias. I'm bringing down the color of the orange. So you're allowed to bring the color, not necessarily with the type of flower, but just with the color and also the texture. So again, placement, one is lower than the other, so you're not fighting for your attention. I've got some beautiful tulips that we were cut beforehand, and that's what we're going to do is we have tulips towards the back, so even from the front you can see where the tulips are. And that's what you want, is that, how do you call it, imaginary lines going through across, but still that visibility from the front. That's where it is. I can't find my knife. Right. Adding some towards the front. Now my three-dimensional effect is like coming from the front and still having tulips at the back, and you can see where it's now starting to create a framework as well on the side. So when you're working an arrangement, try not to do it just frontal. Try to do it, if as much possible, 3/4. If not, then you can do a full arrangement. There are 3 large arrangements, as you can see towards behind you, and those are made by myself, Michael Wood from the Gold Coast, and David Berger from Sydney. The 3 different designs that we were all given almost identical flowers. So the quantity of flowers used, we had like 2 bunches of gladioli, we had 3 bunches of lilies, and stuff. But the way that it was made was, if you cut the stem shorter, then that's what's going to happen. If you leave the stems longer, that's what's going to happen. So again, you end up with 3 different designs with almost identical amount of flowers. Each has got like traditional, one's modern, and one's iPoma linear. And you can see the difference. And every single one of them has got a, how do you call it, a beautiful sort of outcome. I've got some camellia here, leaves that we also cut from the camellia grove. And as you can see, I'm not even using my irises anymore because I want to keep that orangey. With the irises will come out, that will be alright, but then it's also very open now, so if I want this to keep for a few more days, the iris will only last for a day. So I'm not going to use that anymore. You can use the beautiful sunburst gerbers as well for platforming, but then you can also add them to bring that interest by breaking or giving it a more textural contrast with the materials we have, and also a repetition of the color. But then I wouldn't, because I think that less is more. So now I already created sections on my designs over here and that, but still linking the whole design because of the up and down nature of the arrangement. So if, for example, my eye follows through, if I use the stick here as a pointer, if I start from the tulips, my eyes go up towards the strelitzia, brings my eye across, up to the top. Anything that goes up must come down, jumps over to the other side, across and to the center, onto my brasilias, brings my eye up to the tulips, onto the sticks, to the next strelitzia, going up and down, jumps over to the other side, brings your eye down here to the coccinea and to the center, up to that, slides across into the front of the tulips. Your eye is traveling through the design. You look at the design, oh yeah, that's beautiful, but then every single point, or say every single flower is identified because they have a certain purpose. Like we have a certain purpose in life, and whatever we do, good or bad, it's still there because that's part of living. So the same thing as when you're creating an arrangement, it has a story, it has a purpose. Right? Next one, please. I think I'm going to be quicker because I've got a few more designs for you. I thought that would be. Now, soften, I've added some of the curly sort of fern here. That gives you just much more interest as well. So instead of everything's rigid, I gave you something that's more curly, more dynamic in line rather than very, very static. Woody, next one please.